Welcome to the Rotary Club of Fairview. I'm going to ask that you silence your phones. We welcome all visitors, Rotarians, and guests. Janice Mitchell, lead us in the song.
Hey, all right, so today we're going to sing America the Beautiful. You all know that from your elementary school days. And here is, no, I saw some people go, So here we go. Oh, and I'm standing in the wrong place. I am so sorry. So let me jump over here. Here's your pitch. Ready, oh beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Good job, thank you.
Thanks, Janice. Andy Zirkle, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roy Deidiger, will you lead us in invocation?
Heavenly Father, we are privileged to be in your presence here in Rotary today and with your blessing. We are blessed to be able to participate in our projects both here at home and abroad. We praise you for all that you give us. We ask that you would help us to remember that the Rotary motto,
Service above self.
We thank you for this meal. We ask that you would use it to further your kingdom, for our nourishment of our body. In Christ's name.
Amen. Gary West, introduce visitors and guests.
Let's see. Well, Doug, I guess, is he really a guest? Okay. Doug Coe, introduce your guest.
All right, so we have Jim here today as our guest. Here in a little bit, he will no longer be a guest, so it's a special ceremony. Jim, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And our other guest is Jacqui Pearl, our guest speaker. She'll be coming up here in a little bit.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
All right. Jim Burns in here, but Bruce Van Cleve. See Bruce. Hopefully everybody that's signed up for the Pond Gap Readers needs to do that today. David, anybody got any announcements?
Mobile meals.
Oh, mobile meals,
Mobile meals, today was the third Friday, which is normally when Kelly delivers meals. And if you've missed Kelly, she's been on a 10-day cruise. Give her grief when she gets back. Unfortunately, she came back with COVID. So I delivered mobile meals today, not Kelly. And everyone was in good fit and form. And Miss Viola, who is still in the hospital and doing rehab after having had a slight heart attack, told me to tell you thank you all very, very much for being part of her delivery team. And she really appreciates mobile meals.
Thanks, Janice. I got this thank you letter. Actually, Ryan Besser got the thank you letter from the Water Mission. We're helping out with that, and they're actually having an event May 6th in the North Shore Park. I don't remember that. But he said, hello, Ryan, on behalf of the Water Mission and Troy Kenson, I would like to thank you and the vendor the Bearden Rotary Club for your enthusiastic endorsement and recent financial supportment of Knoxville's first walk to water on May 6th. It means much for us to have partners such as Bearden Club for this event. Please express our heartfelt appreciation, club members. We look forward to seeing you on the day of the walk. So they're walking. It's a water mission where they're helping out some of the developing countries, and I believe he's given us a talk before here.
How much did we?
I think it was $500, wasn't it? Yeah, 500. David, you want to introduce our speaker?
One thing I usually do is get the name pronunciation for the speaker, just to make sure I don't mess it up. What I didn't do today is get the name pronunciation for the foundation. So I'm going to say it like 3 times. So is it Koinonia?
Quantania.
Quantania. All right.
Quantania.
Quantania. All right. And then before I forget, did everybody, when they opened the fridge this past week, think about my question?
Yeah.
I started thinking about it. One of the trivia questions last week was, what does the average American do 22 times a day?
Yes.
So, anyways, where's Chris? I saw Chris come in here. I guess maybe I left that. Oh, he's right there. Yeah. No, you missed all the music last time. We had a bunch of music. We had requests last time. What? All right. Our speaker today is Jacqui Pearl, who has served as the executive director for the Koinonia Foundation since August 2017. In that time, she has taken on a multitude of tasks, including growing the newest programs under the KFTN umbrella. We Adapt programs and Koinonia Classroom, which I'll let her to discuss with you or describe. She is a 15-year resident of Knoxville and has grown to admire the philanthropic nature of the area. Her past nonprofit experience is having participated on boards and committees for organizations such as Horsehaven, Stanford Eisenberg, Knoxville Jewish Day School, the Red Cross, and Girls Inc. Her compassion and willingness to aid populations within the community that are underserved has made her a valuable part of the foundation family. Koinonia in Greek means caring community, and that's what Jacqui hopes to continue to bring to the individuals in our area with disabilities. Please join me in welcoming Jacqui.
Thank you guys for having me. My voice left me, unfortunately, a couple days ago. I don't normally show videos when I go to speak to people like this, but it might be a little easier in case my voice decides to give out. So we're going to show a little video talking about what we do, all of our programs, and then open it up to any questions if anybody's got any. So, yeah. Koinonia in Greek means caring community and fellowship, which I think is kind of the perfect name for who we are and what we do. My first introduction to Koinonia happened when I was in college, and I actually attempted to get into camp class and was waitlisted 3 times in a row. I have been trying to have a really genuine, from the beginning, Koinonia experience for a very long time, and so the fact that I am in the position that I'm in and get to lead the organization now is really, truly a bit of a miracle, but also a huge blessing. My name's Jacqui Pearl. I am the executive director for the Koinonia Foundation. About 20 years ago, a group of parents of campers got together and decided that they wanted to create what they now call the Koinonia Foundation, which was formed in order to financially support our legacy camp programs. So Camp Koinonia, Koinonia Retreat, and Camp Ogonali. And really the purpose was that if ever there was a time that something happened with the university and they pulled their support for the program, then financially we could still hold camp because it held such a special place in their kids' hearts. And so very fortuitously, the university has continued its support with us, and so when the time came to add service or fill gaps in service, the foundation was there to be able to do that. And so since 2001, we've been financially supporting camp and now all our other programs as well.
I'm Kelsey Webb, and I am the program coordinator for the Koinonia Foundation. The camp programs provide really obvious benefits for our campers. So our campers get to come for a weekend or a week and have a lot of fun and do things that are entirely inclusive to their abilities. and get to be around people who are similar to them and have experiences that they wouldn't have anywhere else.
Our primary program for the longest time, since 1977, is Camp Quintanilla, and it started as a service learning program at Virginia Tech. And so since 1977, we've been serving kids with disabilities, varying disabilities, ages 7 to 21, at a week-long overnight camp program. Quintanilla Retreat is an extension of Camp Quintanilla, just for a higher age bracket. And so after 21, we realized that those adults that had transitioned out of that camp age still wanted to have that outdoor camp recreation experience. And so we created Quintanilla Retreat in order to serve adults 22 and up with those same camp-like programs.
We Adapt is a community-based program for adults with disabilities. So 18 and up, typically we see people joining us after they graduate high school, and they need some sort of transition from the structure they receive in high school to now the ample free time, extra time, unstructured time that they have. And so We Adapt is weeknight and weekend events from 2 to 6 hours in length. We do all kinds of different stuff with community partners. It is social in nature, so it is all about building connection, creating community, and really empowering our adults to be confident in their abilities and confident in the independence that they do have to then be able to go out in the community and be an engaged community partner, or to go out and do things for other people that maybe they didn't think they can do, and engage with their families. We go bowling and play arcade games. We go to the movies together. We'll go get dinner and go to a Lady Vols basketball game. But then we also have other events that are really specific to building skill or practicing skills that we've learned at previous events. And so we will have adapted paint nights, or we'll have pottery classes. But we just like to have fun. So anything that, you or I would do with our friends on the weekend is what we tend to do with our We Adapt programs.
I think everybody would be lying if we said that COVID didn't have a massive impact on our lives and the things that we do. So we're one of the organizations that I'm aware of that really pushed themselves and adapted so that we could continue serving the individuals that we do. And we've come out of COVID with a brand new program, 2 brand new programs really, with Quintanilla Classroom and Camp Isagogi.
Quintanilla Classroom got its start in 2021 as virtual Camp K. We were unable to go back to in-person camps, and in 2022 the foundation took it on as its own programming, and so we were able to provide filmed activities and all supplies necessary to teachers and students in Anderson, Blount, and Knox County special education classrooms. So similar to camp, for our students, it adds the value of fun and working towards those specific goals and doing it in a way that is exciting and engaging. But really, I think for our teachers, it is so valuable because over the past couple years, our teachers are just tired. They're just tired and they need a little boost every once in a while. And so providing these activities, these videos that we film, we help kind of fill the gap or boost them out of maybe a creative rut. And so we're providing these activities where they just have to hand out the supplies and hit play. They're still engaging with their students, they're still assisting their students, but it's providing a relief from the mental burden of creativity, the mental burden of trying to keep their class engaged, especially at a time in the year where everyone's just kind of ready for school to be done. And everyone's just kind of ready to be out.
I don't think we could do half or even 3/4 of what we do without the support of our community. We don't have our own facility. We don't have spaces that are our own so that we can control the frequency of our programming or when it happens. And so being able to have community partners and build community relationships with other disability service organizations or schools or businesses allows us the opportunity to provide meaningful and incredible experiences for our participants and our campers.
I think in 5 years, I could see the foundation having a greater footprint in the area that we're in. We like to joke that you don't know about us unless you need to. And so something that I would love to see in the next 5 years is to see more of that community engagement. People who maybe didn't know about us before but somehow stumbled upon a volunteer opportunity, then continue to come back and continue to bring their friends and families and organizations that they know or work with come together and create this huge network of support for our families and network of support for our campers and participants.
You know, we are not an organization that's funded by the state or federally. We rely solely on the kindness and generosity of a lot of our business partnerships and individual donors. And so really none of what we do could be possible without either the financial support of the community or providing, you know, brick and mortar locations or letting us take a piece of their talent and introduce it to our participants. I hope that we are able to continue to grow the number of individuals that we serve. I hope that the number of families that engage with us and allow us the opportunity to touch the lives of their loved ones continues to grow. I hope we're in every school in the state with Quanania Classroom because it's a really unique program that is there to provide and support for special education classrooms. And I hope that more people that learn about us want to be involved with us and really expand our reach within the community.
What she said, better than me. You know, one of the things I like to say about what we do is that we're one of the only organizations I know of that will introduce ourselves to a child with a disability around kindergarten and have programming that will stick with them throughout the entirety of their lives. So we get them at camp the first time when they're in kindergarten, we get into their classroom when they're in kindergarten, and we've got programs that can be there to support them until they either leave Knoxville or they're unable to be with us any longer. And so it's a real blessing to do what we do, to serve the community that we serve. And we've found ways to do it that are inclusive, that are adaptable, and they're fun, which is why we have such a strong presence in so many areas in the community. So, you know, that was basically us in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
You mentioned going into classrooms. Are you going into different, I think I saw Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going into the classrooms at the different schools that might invite you in, or however you get into, how does that come about?
Yeah, so as you heard, it was Quanania Classroom was developed as a COVID response program. When we couldn't have in-person camps anymore, and we're trying to reach that age 7 to 21, right? Those school-age kids who are virtualed out. Teachers are tired. Parents are exhausted coming home and trying to find activities to engage their kids, and they've sat in front of a screen all day. So we're thinking to ourselves, okay, how are we going to get camp programming in front of them? And I said, well, why don't we just give it to the schools? Why don't we create these videos of stuff that we would do at camp anyway, offer it to the schools, and whoever wants to be a part of it, great, come be a part of it. It's free for teachers. Not only do we supply the video content, but we provide every single student every single supply they will need to complete those activities. And so we have had great partners at the county school district level, some of the city school district levels, that have just passed along the information to their special education teachers, grades K through 12, and whoever wants to sign up to be a part of it can be a part of it. We create these supply kits. You saw those big orange bags. That's one of the tote bags every single student received. Year one, we had 512 special education students. Last year, we had over 875, excuse me. So the need is there, and we packed those supply kits for every single student that registered. So it's available to teachers on a password-protected site. All asynchronous, so they can access it however and whenever they want throughout the course of the school year, the spring semester of the school year. And it just gives them a much needed break.
So would they be used virtually in the classroom, that the teacher, throughout whatever part of the day it is, they could actually introduce as part of their curriculum, break period, whatever it's going to be, and then the student can come in from home, I guess?
So the student can come in from home, or they can work it into their curriculum for the students that are in their classroom.
Right.
We design it to be facilitated in the classroom. Yeah.
What is the financial commitment for the school?
None.
None?
None. Yeah.
Okay. That's fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. I was just telling Gary My son has been dating for the last 8 years a young lady who has a son who is autistic. He is 21, getting ready to age out of the Anderson County school system. This is his last year there.
Yep.
Structure, I was very interested in what you were saying. He's into the structure. The students there have been helping in his classroom, and all of a sudden now, there's going to be no structure, and they're looking at what to do. He, unfortunately, is very low functioning, about a 3-year-old.
Sure.
Level autism, and so when my son saw the newsletter from our club, he said, "Mother, find out everything you can. This sounds like something we could do."
Sure.
So does it sound like something that he could do, that Michael could be involved in?
Absolutely. So for those kids that are aging out of high school, our We Adapt programs that you heard us talk about, those community-based programs, we start at age 18 and up, so there's no age limit there. Those programs are designed to be social, interactive, community-based, so we're going out into the community and taking all the wonderful things that Knoxville has to offer, every single one of us, and finding a way to adapt it to the individual needs of any one of our participants. So whether it's going to a UT basketball game all together, I know from experience going with our group logistically how difficult it is for someone with limited mobility or lower cognitive function or anybody who just has unique differences to engage in that space. It's not necessarily made for everybody. We take it upon ourselves to find a way to make it for everybody. Whether it's noise canceling headphones, whether it's one-on-one supervision and just walking the concourse while the basketball game's going on, we want everyone to feel like they can be a part of it. And so it does add some of the socialization that they miss during the school year. It does add some of those opportunities for independence building away from their main caregivers or mom and dad. And it provides them an opportunity to go out with a group of people who are just like them, experiencing the same things, receiving things the same way, interacting with spaces the same way. So We Adapt programs in that case would be very appropriate. If he is still in high school, we are in Anderson County, so I would encourage them to let us know, so to be able to participate in the classroom program. And then we do have a overnight, 3-night, 4-day camp specifically for adults with disabilities, so ages 22 and up. Every individual is paired 1-to-1 with a counselor, so they have individual direct supervision. We run a full med clinic, so all medications are dispersed by certified nurses and such things like that. So we cover our bases to make sure that everything's considered and taken care of. And so be happy to pass on any information or give you my card so that you can contact us. Of course, my pleasure.
Great.
Yeah.
The camp I went to when I was in middle school wasn't like that, but it was so enjoyable. It was a religious camp in Chattanooga, and I went for a week. And you were talking about giving the teachers a break. I think that you're probably also giving the students a break as well, because that's one of the things I probably, out of my entire life, that's one of I talk about that to all my friends. That was some of the most enjoyable time I had.
Yeah, one of the things we like to do, especially with the classroom, is we include the student peer tutors and aides in it. So every peer tutor gets a t-shirt, every peer tutor gets a little tote bag. We provide information for them so that they can follow along with the teacher, almost like a lesson plan book. And so we know that a number of our counselors, because all of the counselors we have at each one of our camps are college students at the University of Tennessee, learning therapeutic recreation or special education. So they want to work with the population, right? And so we know that a ton of them have come to us because of their experience in those classrooms or in those religious camps working with the population, and they want to continue that. So, yeah, it's our pleasure to provide those things for those kind of students as well. Yes?
If I heard correctly in the video, it said you don't receive any federal or state funding?
No, sir.
My question is, why not?
Well, interestingly enough, sometimes it's a little hard to make a case for adults. They don't get the same kind of heartstring tug that you do with kids. And additionally, because our camps are considered extracurricular, recreational, it's not something that the state has often deemed as necessary towards their development. The in-school program, however, has sort of opened up some doors for us to receive that kind of funding, and because we're in year 3, we're building some of the studies behind that and the casework and the numbers to make a case to the city and the state that it is necessary, it is valuable. So I think we're going to get there.
Keep looking for grants.
Absolutely. Private grants, foundation grants, and then individual donors.
This is all since COVID?
All since COVID.
Well, there was a physical camp somewhere with this name before, right?
Yes, and that continues. So all of our in-person camps continue. We've just added the classroom on top of it. Mostly for teachers to still get that necessary, a creative break or just respite in the classroom of having to come up with the material and provide supplies.
Are they both under the same foundation?
Same foundation, yes, sir. Yeah.
United Way fund you?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. The United Way has been great partners with us, especially now that they've absorbed Alliance for Better Nonprofits. But the United Way sort of sets their directives, and we don't quite fit under where they're at for this year, but we've had meetings with them about what we're doing, and we're hopeful. Yes, sir.
2 questions are, there is a program at UT now, correct, that offers so-called degree for special needs kids?
Yes.
And do you have any connection with that at all? Or do you...
Sure. It's called the Future Program.
Right.
So it's post-secondary education for individuals with disabilities. They are normally more high-functioning than a lot of the kids we deal with, but we share some of the same participants. So a lot of those future kids come to our programs. We are loosely affiliated in that the creator of that program sits on our board, and we've got some university representation, but we're not directly affiliated.
Right. And the second question is, if your program didn't exist, what would these older people do?
Well, there are several programs locally, and I've always said that the disability service community needs to be a community and not this organization over here, this organization over here. We all, and I think for the most part, do a good job of really working together to serve the same population. But there are groups like Sertoma, the Sertoma Center. They do housing and day programs. So a lot of the things that we're doing that are different is we're doing after hours and weekends. So the stuff that any one of us after we get off work want to go and do with our friends, those are the things that we provide. Breakthrough, specific to autism, they do similar things to Sertoma. The Sunshine Group, Sunshine Ambassadors, ARC of East Tennessee or whatever it is, they do similar day programming stuff every single day. So there are things that are out there. The cool thing I like about what we do is that it is all after hours. It's stuff that when we get off work is great for us to go do it with our friends. And it gives mom and dad or primary caregivers time off at a time they probably don't get it that often. So 6 hours on a Saturday that we're doing a day camp style program, or something on a Thursday night for a couple hours so they can go to have a date night, something like that. So that's sort of what separates us from some of those other organizations. Yes, sir.
Okay, you knew you weren't going to get away with it. That's this question. I commend you for what you do.
Thank you.
Are you up for a basketball question?
Please.
Okay.
Nice change of pace.
I think there's a big game.
There is. I've heard rumor.
What colors will you be wearing?
Oh, well, orange, right? Orange works. Listen, I'm a graduate of the University of Tennessee, but family first. There's no losers, really. I don't have to fly home on the plane with him and my brother, so I get to stay here and enjoy either way. It's always nostalgic playing in Thompson Bowling, always nostalgic. And, I think the SEC gets a little bit of a sick twist out of having them play here all the time, every year. But it's fun. I enjoy it. I mean, Tennessee's team this year is insanely good. We are good. We're not great. yet. I think we're still trying to figure it out, so it'll be interesting.
You need to sing the national anthem.
Well, this has to go away first. I'm not sure that anybody would enjoy it as I am right now, but I also think maybe it's an unfair advantage, right? Is that for somebody? I don't know if it's specific to Dad or for the team that's playing in their home arena, but was that going to be your question? Well, anything else?
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Where is the camp, like the week-long camp? Where?
Yeah, so we actually hold all of our overnight camps at the Clyde York 4-H property out in Crossville.
Okay.
It's the largest, by far, fully accessible, and when I mean fully accessible, the grounds, the canoeing, the lakes, the bathrooms, the dorms, everything is completely fully accessible. And we've got about 100 campers that we host there every spring. So both of our overnight camps are out in Crossville. Thank you all. And I've got little one-sheeters if anybody wants more information. Just come see me.
Thank you, Jackie. It's a great thing you do helping out disabled children and adults. It's got to be tough. Two things. You don't get off that easy. We give out a book to the Pond Gap, and we have the speakers sign it. This one is Mina, M-I-N-A, is the book. And if you'll just sign this.
Sure. Absolutely.
And we've got you a little gift, a token of.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate all you do. The next thing is a special, every time we get a new member, it's a big thing. So I'm going to ask Jim Christensen, Doug Coates, and Dick Hinton to come up.
Got it all there?
I think so.
That's the universal sign.
Dick, I'm going to let you introduce.
Okay. Glad to. Let me do the ceremony. You guys remember this, I'm sure, but fellow Rotarians, it's my privilege and pleasure today to welcome into membership Jim Christensen, who's proposed by Doug Coase. The proposal has been reviewed in accordance to the Constitution and bylaws of our club. Jim, we now proceed to admit you as a member of the Rotary Club of Bearden and to the Fellowship of Rotary throughout the world. As an organization for more than 110 years and 1.2 million members in 35,000 plus clubs around the world. You've learned from your visits that the idea of Rotary is service. Our principal motto is thank you. And the object of this club and all Rotary clubs is to encourage and foster this ideal as a basis of worthy enterprise. You're to share in this effort. You've been approved for membership because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your vocation, interested in the ideals of Rotary and willing to do your share in translating these ideals into tangible realities. You've agreed to accept the obligations attached to your membership in the club and to obey the club's constitution and bylaws. I have the pleasure now of asking your proposer, Doug, to pin on the Rotary emblem, which we want you to wear daily and with pride. So let's all watch as Doug carries this out.
But there's no pressure.
So to take a little pressure off, him,
Draw blood.
the first Rotary pins were in wagon wheels. Have wagon wheels. In 1923, it was changed to a gear wheel. Did you know this? With 24 cogs and how many spokes? See, you don't know this. 6 spokes. But a group of engineers had said it was mechanically unsound, would not work without a keyway to the center to attach it to a shaft. So the keyway was added. You are now a part of that kingpin. Kind of a good word, isn't it? You're a part of the kingpin that attaches to the keyway to keep the gear turning. So welcome to the Rotary Club of Bearden, fellow Rotarians. I'm happy to present to you Rotarian Jim Christensen as your newest member. Jim, say a few words about why you chose to rejoin this club.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dick. I'm really happy that Jacqui showed up as far as the program, number one, her leadership and how wonderful it is to help the handicapped in this arena. But the second thing was I was informed by my table members that if Jacqui didn't show, my little 2-minute spiel here would have gone 22 minutes. I really didn't know how that would have worked out. So lucky you. I was a Rotarian here at the Beard and Branch for, 2020. I was president at that point. And so, not 2000, anyway, 22 years, 2000, the year 2000. There you go. I'm really glad to be back. My position, I traveled a lot, and so it took me away from Rotary, and I'm very, very happy to be here. I look forward to rekindling relationships of people that I knew back in the day, and for those of you that I'm just meeting now, and I look forward to learning much more about you. I ask a lot of questions, just simply to know more about you and your family. So if I really start asking too many questions, feel free to tell me not to ask any questions. But I've been very fortunate in the business world in Knoxville. I came to Knoxville for the World's Fair. I worked for Anheuser-Busch, and we introduced Bud Light and Eagle Snacks at that time. I continued on after the World's Fair with Anheuser-Busch, and through some other workings, I went to work for Dick Broadcasting, which is now Cumulus Radio, with Howler and Hill and whatnot. I was very fortunate to help create News Talk. Howler and Hill was in the news department. We brought him into Morning Drive to replace Dave Folk, another host. And then we brought Mike Keith, who is the voice of the Titans in Nashville, was our sports director. And so it grew exponentially. I was very fortunate to meet a lot of people in the industry. I've been a corporate trainer for a long time, independent. I've worked for several large companies and small companies as well. So that's one of the reasons why I ask a lot of questions. I want to know what you guys do versus what I do. So, but anyway, I'm very, very thankful that Doug has proposed me and Dick introduced me, and then Jim as being the president and having me to come into the program. I thank each and every one of you. I look forward to working all of the programs that you have going, and my second Paul Harris Fellow. So thank you so very much. I appreciate that.
Good to have you, Jim.
Great speech, Jim.
He did mention one bad thing, if I'd known that ahead of time, being the AB distributor. You can silence that.
We're all inclusive, Jim.
How about almost all? Our next meeting is going to be with Kat Jones, University of Tennessee Director of NIL. I've heard there's something about the name, image, and likeness. Shouldn't be any questions. Do we have any other announcements? I noticed that everybody was scared of Smokey, so I'm going to do the 4-way test. The 4-way test are the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it true?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?